The story begins with Turid. After losing her job, she returns to her hometown with her two sons, Magne and Loretz, to start a new job at the Jutel company. As soon as they arrive, Magne helps an elderly man. Just then, a mysterious old woman touches his forehead and tells him that his true power has finally awakened. Magne brushes it off as a joke, but before long, he starts realizing that something inside him has truly changed, and he has become far stronger than before. The very next day, both brothers join their new school. Loretz quickly fits in with everyone, while Magne becomes friends with a quiet girl named Isolde. During class, the teacher tells the story of Ragnarok, the legendary final battle between the gods and the giants. That is why this town is still deeply connected to ancient Norse legends. At lunchtime, Isolde tells Magne that hardly anyone at school talks to her, while Fior and Sini are the most popular students there. After school, when Isolde feels upset after finding her bicycle broken, Magne unknowingly uses his new strength to repair it within seconds. The following morning, he realizes that his eyesight has completely recovered and he no longer needs to wear glasses. Meanwhile, his mother meets Vidar, the owner of the Jutel company, who offers her a job because they know each other from the past. But the moment Vidar's dog sees Magne, it becomes strangely restless. When Vidar learns that Magne's father died years ago in his factory, he begins to suspect that the boy could become a serious threat to their family. Because of this, he orders his children to keep a close watch on Magne's every move. The next day after school, Isolde invites Magne over for dinner. Since it is the first time someone has truly accepted him as a friend, he feels genuinely happy. During dinner, Isolde tells him that she investigates environmental issues and believes there is a dark secret behind the town's rising pollution and the rapidly melting glaciers. Her father does not agree with her theories, but he never tries to stop her either. On Saturday, the two head into the mountains together. Along the way, Isolde says that once she finishes school, she plans to move to another country, but promises she will return to see Magne again. Soon, they come across a warning sign, yet Isolde refuses to turn back. Just then, Magne receives a message from his brother saying that something has happened to their mother. Panicked, he rushes home while Isolde continues the journey alone. Meanwhile, Vidar reveals his true nature deep inside the forest. Using his mysterious powers, he hunts down a deer and tears out its heart before eating it. It becomes clear that he is far from an ordinary human. At the same time, while collecting water samples, Isolde discovers a hidden cave where she finds a mysterious door connected to the Jutel company. Suddenly, a terrifying roar echoes from inside, but driven by her determination to uncover the truth, she keeps moving forward. Back at home, Magne realizes that his mother is completely fine and that his brother had only played a prank on him. Without wasting a second, he runs back toward the mountain. From a distance, he spots Isolde paragliding, but her parachute suddenly crashes into high-voltage power lines. The powerful electric shock sends her falling to the ground. Magne sprints toward her with all his strength, but by the time he arrives, it is already too late. Vidar also reaches the scene and calls an ambulance, but Isolde cannot be saved. Losing his first real friend leaves Magne completely heartbroken. That very night, his overwhelming rage unleashes a violent storm that knocks out the electricity across the entire town. The following day, the school gathers to honor Isolde's memory. At the same time, the police begin investigating her death. When Magne learns that Isolde's phone has mysteriously disappeared, he becomes convinced that this was no accident, but a carefully planned murder, and all his suspicion points directly at Vidar. The next day, Vidar tells Turid that someone has smashed one of the company's windows with a hammer. The moment she sees the picture, she recognizes it as the hammer that once belonged to her late husband. After returning home, she questions Magne about it, but he denies everything. Then, he suddenly remembers that in a fit of anger, he had thrown that same hammer as far as he could. To find out the truth, he buys another hammer and throws it again. When the hammer lands 541 meters away, Magne finally realizes that he now possesses strength far beyond any normal human. Meanwhile, Vidar tells Ran that he was the one who killed Isolde because she had uncovered their hidden secret. Ran is shocked by the truth, but she chooses to stand by her family and insists that no one must ever learn what really happened. That same night, Magne visits Isolde's father, Eric, but he is trying to accept his daughter's death as nothing more than a tragic accident. Magne cannot accept that explanation. Overcome with anger, he shoves a parked car so hard that it moves with a single push. Elsewhere, while returning from a party, Fior mocks the memorial created in Isolde's honor. His friend records the whole thing, but Fior immediately forces forces him to delete the video. After reaching home, Vidar furiously scolds him. It is revealed that their family is not human at all, but descendants of an ancient and incredibly powerful race of giants. Even so, Vidar warns his children that they must continue living among humans without revealing their true identities. During this time, Sini's friend Gry accidentally witnesses Vidar's monstrous side and is left too terrified to say a single word. The next day, after Isolda's funeral, Magne returns home only to find the entire apartment completely ransacked. It is obvious that someone had broken in looking for evidence. At first, he suspects a homeless man, but the man tells him that he saw Vidar's car parked outside before anyone entered the apartment. Hearing this makes Magne even more suspicious. Later, while speaking with the school psychologist, he admits for the first time that none of this can be a coincidence. He is now convinced that if the truth is ever going to come out, he will have to uncover the mystery himself. Meanwhile, Rand finds out that Magne suspects Vidar. She immediately informs Vidar about it. Both of them realize that if the homeless man, Nisa, tells the police the truth, their secret could be exposed. So, Vidar decides to silence him forever. Around the same time, Vidar spots Magne walking along the road. Seizing the opportunity, he deliberately crashes his speeding car into him. He is certain that this time Magne will not survive, but to everyone's shock, Magne walks away without a single scratch. Even the doctors are left stunned by his condition. That night, Magne notices the same strange smell coming from Isolda's clothes that he had sensed before. He begins to believe that this scent is the key to uncovering the entire mystery. The next day, Saxa is horrified to see Magne alive and immediately tells Vidar everything. Vidar now realizes that Magne is no ordinary human, but someone whose supernatural powers have also awakened. Wanting to uncover the truth, Rand invites both brothers over for dinner. After the meal, Vidar keeps pouring drink after drink for Magne, but none of it has any effect on him. Finally, he serves a legendary ancient drink, claiming that it was once consumed by gods and giants, and that no one could ever finish more than a single glass. But Magne empties the entire bottle in one gulp. Seeing this leaves the whole family speechless. A little later, under the influence of the drink, Magne slices a thick wooden plank into two with a single strike. Rand is now convinced that he possesses extraordinary strength. She then challenges Magne to an arm wrestling match. At first, Magne gives it everything he has, but suddenly he catches a glimpse of Rand's terrifying true form. The shocking sight distracts him, and he loses the match. Frightened, Magne rushes into the bathroom. But when he looks at his own reflection in the mirror, he becomes even more terrified. He begins to realize that whatever is happening to him is far beyond the limits of an ordinary human. Meanwhile, Vidar gathers his entire family for a meeting. He says that he has seen someone like Magne thousands of years ago, and fears that the ancient war between the gods and the giants might begin once again. However, Fjord disagrees with him. He believes they should first discover Magne's true identity. In the end, the whole family agrees with that decision. The next morning, Magne heads into the forest to test his strength. After several powerful strikes, he manages to bring down a massive tree from its roots. Now he is certain that he truly possesses supernatural power. While searching for answers, he comes across old paintings that depict the legendary battle between the gods and the giants. At that moment, he realizes that the mysterious old woman, Wenchi, did not give him these powers, but merely awakened the strength that had always been hidden inside him. When Magne goes to meet her, Wenchi confirms the truth and tells him that it is now his choice whether he will use this power to protect people or not. Meanwhile, a new student named Iman joins the school and takes Isolda's place. Later, Magne tells Eric that the blood found on Isolda's jacket did not belong to a human, but to an animal. But Eric no longer wants to continue investigating the case. During a school trip, Magne finds a dead deer in the mountains. The moment he smells its blood, he recognizes the exact same scent that was on Isolda's jacket. His suspicions grow even stronger. At the camp, Vidar speaks to him in a strange way, and the two suddenly begin talking in an ancient language, as if they had always known it. Vidar is now completely convinced that Magne has become a serious threat to him, so he unleashes his vicious dog, Trim, to attack him. Trim bites deeply into Magne's hand, but in a burst of rage, Magne crushes the dog's jaw with his bare hands. Meanwhile, Eric returns to the place where Isolde used to spend her time. Hidden among the rocks, he finally discovers her missing phone. At the same time, when Vidar sees the body of his loyal dog, he realizes that Magne has become far more powerful than ever before. That same night, Gry sneaks into Vidar's office. There, she finds several old family photographs, but the most shocking thing is that everyone looks exactly the same, even in pictures taken decades decades ago. Just then, Thor catches her and warns her never to enter that room again. Meanwhile, Magne tells his mother that Vidar's dog attacked him, but when he shows her his hand, the wound has completely disappeared. No one believes his story. Sometime later, the police question him about Isolde's case and warn him to stop investigating on his own. After school, Eric gives Magne Isolde's recovered phone along with the water sample she had collected. Magne takes the sample to his biology teacher for testing. Around the same time during sports class, Saxa reveals her true strength by throwing Magne hard against a wall, then hurls a spear beside him as a clear warning to stay away from the investigation. Meanwhile, Saxa finds Grai's earring inside her father's office. She immediately realizes that Thor has fallen in love with a human girl, but Thor refuses to admit it. On the other hand, Turid, Eric, and the school staff all try to convince Magne to let everything go. Feeling completely alone, Magne begins to lose hope. Just then, his biology teacher hands him the test results. The analysis reveals dangerous metals like cadmium, lead, and mercury in the water. It becomes clear that the town's water has been poisoned. Yet, there is still no solid evidence against the Jutel company. Disappointed, Magne visits Wenche once again and says that perhaps he is not worthy of carrying such a responsibility, but Wenche refuses to let him give up. That same night, Eric shares some good news. Isolde's phone has finally been switched on, and the secrets hidden inside may finally come to light. Meanwhile, Grai ends her relationship with Thor forever. She tells him that her father was ruined because of the toxic chemicals released by the Jutel company, and that she can never become part of their family. That night, Magne and Eric finally unlock Isolde's phone. The photos stored inside led Magne to a hidden tunnel buried beneath the glacier. He immediately rushes there, breaks open the entrance, and steps inside. What he finds leaves him completely stunned. Hundreds of barrels filled with toxic chemical waste are hidden inside. This poison is what has been contaminating the entire town's water supply. The next morning, Magne reports everything to the police, but Vidar is warned in advance and has all the barrels removed overnight. By the time the police arrive, there is nothing left to find. Once again, the biggest piece of evidence slips through Magne's hands. After this, the school expels Magne, claiming that he is mentally unstable. Meanwhile, Thor and Grai have already broken up, but Thor still worries about her safety. Little by little, he begins to realize how many lives his own family has destroyed. The next day, he tries to give Grai's father money as compensation, but the offer is firmly rejected. Later, Thor tells Grai that he does not want to become like the rest of his family. He only wants to live as a good human being. Meanwhile, after examining Magne's mental condition, the doctors conclude that he is suffering from delusions and prescribe medication. But Magne knows that everything he witnessed was real. Then one day, Thor meets him on a bridge and finally confesses the truth. The toxic barrels really do exist, and they will be shipped away by cargo vessel that very night. Hearing this fills Magne with hope once again. He immediately heads to the harbor and sees the barrels being loaded onto the ship with his own eyes. Meanwhile, the atmosphere inside Thor's home has completely changed. Vidar and the rest of the family realize that Thor is hiding something from them. They begin to suspect that Grai could become a witness against them. So, Vidar orders Thor that if he truly wants to prove his loyalty, he must eliminate Grai once and for all. At the same time, Saxa makes it clear that if Thor refuses, she will kill Grai herself. Meanwhile, Vidar is summoned to the police station. Someone has secretly left the same missing toxic barrels outside the station. Vidar denies every accusation, but the inspector refuses to believe him and officially launches an investigation against the Jutel company. At the same time, the town is celebrating a national festival. During the event, Thor takes Grai away from the crowd. Magne senses that something is wrong and immediately runs after them. Suddenly, he hears Grai screaming. Grabbing a hammer lying nearby, Magne strikes Thor with all his strength. Thor is knocked to the ground and Magne is just about to finish him, but Grai steps in and stops him. At that very moment, Vidar arrives. Magne tells the two of them to run while he stays behind to face Vidar alone, but Vidar easily overpowers all of Magne's strength and sends him flying with a single blow. Then, Vidar mocks his death. The moment Magne hears those words, his rage explodes. He raises his hand toward the sky, and suddenly a massive bolt of lightning strikes directly into his body. The same lightning also hits Vidar. With a deafening explosion, both of them collapse unconscious. Watching from a distance, Wenche realizes that the prophecy of Ragnarok has finally begun to come true. The new war between the gods and the giants has begun. A short while later, both of them regain consciousness. Just then, an ambulance arrives. When the doctors try to treat Magne, he instantly stands up on his own, leaving everyone speechless. But Vidar grabs him by the throat and threatens to kill him before the next full moon. To save his life, Magne flees into the mountains. Suddenly, the world around him begins to change, and he finds himself in a mysterious place where Wenche is waiting in her true form. Wenche reveals reveals that Magne is the chosen warrior destined to end the war between the gods and the giants. His enemies now know the truth about his real power. If he wants to win, he must find his true weapon and gather other warriors like himself. With a smile, Wenche tells him that when the time is right, the remaining ancient powers will reveal themselves to him. Meanwhile, Thor returns home, but his family is furious because he failed to kill Gry. Thor openly admits that he loves her and will never harm her. After saying this, he leaves his home for good. Vidar tries to stop him, but Thor refuses to live by the laws of the giants anymore. On the other hand, Magne tries to tell his brother Lorette the whole truth. To prove his powers, he even bends a thick iron rod with his bare hands. Yet Lorette still refuses to believe him. The next day, news spreads that an official investigation has been launched against the Jutel Company over the poisoned water. That same day, the two brothers visit the cemetery on the anniversary of their father's death. While looking through old photographs, Lorette realizes that he does not resemble his father at all, whereas Magne looks exactly like him. For the first time, he begins to question the identity of his real father. On the way back, Magne meets Eric. While discussing Norse legends, Eric explains that the god Thor defeated the giants with the help of his legendary hammer. Around the same time, Magne meets the blacksmith Harry and realizes that he is the one who can forge a mighty hammer just like Thor's for him. Meanwhile, through Turid, Wenche sends Magne a message asking him to meet her at the bridge that evening. There, Magne meets his new classmate, Iman. He soon discovers that Iman is no ordinary girl, but someone connected to an ancient power. She possesses the unique ability to influence people's minds through her words. Meanwhile, Lorette becomes increasingly troubled by questions about his identity. At last, Turid tells him the truth. The man he believed was his father was never his real father. The next day, with Iman's help, Magne convinces Harry to forge a special hammer like Thor's for him. Harry promises that it will be ready by the following day. Meanwhile, Turid secretly meets Vidar and reveals a 17-year-old secret. She tells him that Lorette is actually his son. Hearing this truth leaves even Vidar stunned for a moment, and he realizes that the story is about to take a far more dangerous turn. That evening, Vidar personally comes to meet Lorette. Just then, Magne arrives at the scene. Seeing his greatest enemy standing with his brother fills him with rage, and his uncontrollable power causes the electricity across the entire area to go out. After returning home, Vidar tells his family that Lorette is his son. He realizes that if he can bring Lorette to his side, defeating Magne will become much easier. Ran is stunned by this revelation because, according to her, a child born from a giant and a human should be almost impossible. The next day, Magne takes his newly forged hammer to test its power. He tries to summon it back like Thor's legendary hammer, but it does not return to him. Meanwhile, the town's investigation officially confirms that the water contains toxic metals. People are warned not to drink tap water, and the pressure on the Jutel Company continues to grow. Around the same time, Ran tries to convince Fjord to return home, but he firmly refuses. On the other hand, Ran attempts to run over Turid and her sons with her car, but at the very last moment, Magne saves his mother's life. He now realizes that his enemies have started targeting his family. He immediately goes to Wenche for help. Wenche explains that ordinary weapons cannot harm the giants because they possess ancient divine powers. Just then, she senses that someone is watching them, so she tells Magne to meet her in the mountains instead. That same night, Vidar invites Lorette to his mansion. During a mysterious ritual, Lorette places his hand into fire, but within moments, it heals completely on its own. That is when Lorette realizes that he is no longer an ordinary human. Looking into the mirror, he sees his true identity as Loki. Meanwhile, when Magne learns that his brother is at Vidar's house, he immediately goes there to bring him back, but Lorette refuses to leave. Even so, he tells Magne that no matter what happens, he will always be his brother. Before Magne leaves, Lorette reveals one crucial piece of information. Ran has gone to find Wenche. The moment he hears this, Magne races toward the supermarket without wasting a single second. Meanwhile, as Wenche is returning home, she realizes that someone is following her. Moments later, Ran appears right in front of her. To save herself, Wenche transforms into a bird and tries to fly away, but Ran's magical arrow strikes her and leaves her badly wounded. Somehow, she manages to reach a nursing home where she hands her mysterious necklace over to Odin. Just then, Magne arrives, but before his eyes, Wenche turns to ashes and disappears forever. After losing his greatest ally, Magne swears to take revenge, but Iman warns him not to act out of anger. The next day, Lorette reveals that his body is no longer the same, and that even his wounds heal on their own. Magne is not completely convinced by what he says. He believes that the true hammer can only be forged using the divine fire inside Vidar's mansion, so he heads there with Lorette. Inside the mansion, Magne places his hammer into the sacred fire, but nothing happens. Just then, Vidar arrives and immediately realizes realizes that Loretz has betrayed him. Furious, he throws both brothers out of the mansion. Later, Odin reveals his true identity to Magne and warns him that Loki's true nature is betrayal, so he must never trust Loretz blindly. Meanwhile, Loretz secretly steals a sample of Odin's blood. The next day, a massive protest breaks out against the Judel Company. The biggest shock comes when Thor publicly accuses his own family of poisoning the town's water supply. During the protest, news arrives that Gry's father has passed away, and Thor stands by her side to support her. Meanwhile, after seeing Loretz with Vidar once again, Magne realizes that his brother has moved even closer to his enemies. A short time later, Loretz goes to the mansion to apologize to Vidar, but Vidar tries to kill him instead. At that very moment, Magne arrives and saves his brother. What follows is a fierce battle between Magne and Vidar. In the end, Vidar's divine axe becomes lodged in the wall. Seizing the opportunity, Magne forces him toward the weapon, and Vidar is killed by his own divine axe. In this way, Magne avenges Wenchi's death, but taking a life for the first time leaves him emotionally shattered. After returning home, he breaks down in tears. When he tries to speak with Loretz refuses to forgive him. In his eyes, the real villain is no longer Vidar, but Magne himself. Meanwhile, Gry and her mother begin preparing to leave the town. After her father's death, they no longer have anyone left there. Hearing this, Thor says that he wants to start a new life with them. On the other hand, Magne has grown exhausted by the endless conflict. He hands his hammer over to Odin and decides to walk away from the war. Around the same time, Iman begins training to strengthen her powers. During this, she meets the blacksmith who forged Magne's hammer. Impressed by his skills, Iman recruits him into their team and introduces him to Odin. Meanwhile, Loretz suddenly falls seriously ill. During his examination, the doctors are shocked to discover a mysterious giant creature inside his stomach, forcing them to perform emergency surgery. Loretz attends Vidar's funeral, while Magne remains consumed by guilt because his own brother now hates him. Meanwhile, Thor keeps his distance from everyone at first, but when he learns that Saxa is about to become the sole heir of the company, he steps forward and publicly declares that he has an equal claim to the company as well. At the same time, inside the church, Magne prays to God to take away all of his powers because he wants to live as an ordinary human once again. Suddenly, a violent storm sweeps across the entire town. 1 week later, Gry is about to leave the town, but she discovers that Thor has changed his mind. He has decided to stay behind and take responsibility for his family's legacy. After that, Thor visits his father's grave and vows that he will avenge Vidar's death by killing Magne. The next morning, as soon as Magne wakes up, he realizes that all of his divine powers are gone. His eyesight becomes weak again, forcing him to wear his old glasses once more. When he asks Odin for answers, Odin tells him that his prayer has been granted since he willingly gave up his powers. He is now free to live the life of an ordinary human. Meanwhile, when Saxa arrives at the office, she finds Thor already sitting in their father's chair. It becomes clear that a new battle for power within the family is about to begin. Meanwhile, after Vidar's death, Loretz returns to the mansion. Rand tells him that before dying, Vidar had discovered his betrayal. He wanted Loretz to make his own choice, but the truth was that he never intended to let him go. Hearing this completely breaks Loretz. That same night, Turid is horrified when she discovers a giant snake inside a glass container in Loretz's room. She immediately realizes that this is the same mysterious creature that was removed from Loretz's body at the hospital. She now begins to understand that her son has become part of a terrifying secret. The next day, as soon as Thor becomes the new CEO, he fires Turid from her job and humiliates her in front of everyone. When Magne learns about this, he angrily confronts Thor, but now he no longer has any divine powers. Thor brutally beats him, breaks his glasses, and leaves him helpless on the ground. Defeated, Magne goes back to Odin and begs for his powers to be returned, but Odin firmly tells him that as long as he is fighting for revenge, he is not worthy of his strength. Meanwhile, Saxa tries to bring Loretz over to her side. She reminds him that he is also Vidar's son and has an equal right to the Jutal family's legacy. She even returns the mansion key to him. That night, Rand drives Loretz home, but before leaving, she insults him by calling him an illegitimate son. This time, Loretz finally stands up to her and fires back. Furious, Rand begins threatening the entire family. Magne steps forward to protect his brother and mother, but without his powers, he is unable to do anything. At that moment, he realizes that he cannot even protect his own family. In the end, Turid steps in to calm the situation, and Rand leaves. After this, Magne returns to Odin once again. This time, Odin no longer sees a desire for revenge, but a genuine determination to protect his family. He tells Magne that the moment he regains his divine hammer, Mjolnir, all of his powers will return as well. But before that can happen, he must first recover the mansion key, which is now in Lorette's possession. That same night, Magne, Iman, Odin, Harry, and Halvor secretly break into the Jutel company. Their mission is to forge Thor's true divine hammer using the eternal fire. Odin distracts the guards while Magne opens the hidden passage. Just as the hammer begins to take shape, Thor arrives at the scene. Iman and Harry do everything they can to hold him back, giving Magne enough time to finish the weapon. At last, the hammer is complete, and Magne escapes with it. Halvor deliberately draws the attention of the police, allowing everyone else to get away safely. The next day, Magne tests the hammer, but it falls to the ground like an ordinary weapon. It is clear that it has not yet gained its divine power. Meanwhile, Odin and Iman also lose their safe hideout. Around the same time, Magne discovers that Loritz has secretly kept a mysterious and dangerous creature as a pet. Meanwhile, Turid gets a new job at the same supermarket where Wenche used to work. On the other hand, Thor publicly apologizes to the media for the company's mistakes, but at the same time warns the government that if strict action is taken against the Jutel company, thousands of people will lose their jobs. Under heavy pressure, the government softens its response. Seeing this makes Magne furious once again. Suddenly, a violent storm begins. The lights inside his house start flickering, and his hammer awakens on its own. Magne immediately rushes to the top of a mountain and raises Mjolnir toward the sky. In the very next moment, a massive bolt of lightning crashes down into the hammer, restoring all of his divine powers. The instant his strength returns, Magne heads straight to the Jutel mansion, but there he finds Saxa badly injured. He learns that her own family attacked her because she had chosen to support Lorette. Meanwhile, Ran and Fjord track Lorette down to his house. They are just about to kill him when Lorette reveals that Magne has regained all of his powers. Hearing this, both of them immediately back away. A short while later, Magne arrives home. Seeing his injured brother fills him with overwhelming rage. He raises Mjolnir and is about to strike Fjord, but at that very moment, Loritz regains consciousness and cries out for help. So, what did you think about this series? Be sure to share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you can continue enjoying more amazing stories like this in the future.